Hello everyone. I decided to make a little video. Whenever I say little video, my videos generally go long. Decided to make a video about the SLAB V2. The V1 was this thing, which was derived off of the Silly Pistol, and had too many fundamental flaws to continue designing around. So now we have this. This is the SLAB, which stands for Silly's Lever Action Blaster. I'm waiting to find a better name for it. I generally don't keep acronyms. You might remember that the Thumper used to be the CUMP, which was currently unnamed Mega XL pistol, and the revolver that I'm working on is the SCRP, which is Silly's currently unnamed revolver project. So, we have the SLAB. It is a lever action blaster, mag-fed, with Talon magazines. It would be easy to convert to use an RSCB right here in line with the barrel, or convert to Rival using Rival magazines. And I'm planning on doing both of those things after this prototype is working and the design is solidified. So how does it work? It is a mechanism where the lever, let me hide some stuff real quick so you can get a better view of it. Yeah, that should be fine. All right. When this lever pivots, let's say minus 65 degrees, that is connected to this rod right here, this green rod. That moves all of this stuff forwards, including the magazine, 2.5 inches. And then you can just imagine that this is lined up with, there you go. So it does that. The plunger, which is currently clipping through everything, but you get the idea. The plunger then catches up here, inside of this catch right here. And then everything back here goes back to where it was. Goes back to right here. So the plunger at this point is still caught in the forwards position. And then, when the lever comes back, you pull the trigger. It pivots this part up. Where if I does that, like that, which then is connected to this rod right here, which pushes on this lever here, and at this point the catch is like right there. So when this gets moved forwards, this pushes the catch down, which releases the plunger right here, which slams back, goes into this turnaround, and then shoots a dart out the barrel right there. It is a interesting mechanism, and I'm hoping that it is reliable. Now, I want to touch on something while I'm talking about the SLAB. I want to touch on something that I do for almost all of my blasters, and that is I mash together designs. It's what I do. For instance, the Thumper, which is the Mega XL. Let me see if I have Thumper. Here you go. So the Thumper. This is not a standalone blaster. The grip right now is from the Silly Pistol. The top slide is a modified Silly Pistol top slide. Uses a skewer plunger, and it uses a Talon Claw U front cap and back cap geometry. In the earlier version of the Thumper, it was literally a Talon Claw U, just in there. but I have modified it more for the current release with these little side panels that are screwed in instead of being U-channels. This front clip is my own design. However, the rest of this, it's things mashed together and then polished until they all meld into a cohesive design. That's what I do. So, for instance, with the slab, I think the slab is the design I have made that has the most original. It pulls from the most sources. So there are more other blasters in this one blaster than any of my previous designs. So the Thumper had 3 blasters. It had the Skewer, it had the Talon Claw U, and it had the Silly Pistol. This design has the Silly Pistol. So you can see this top slide right here is what this foregrip right here is made out of. It's just flipped around and edited a bunch. It also uses a plunger derived from the Silly Pistol, plunger and catch, and plunger rod, and all that stuff. As you can see, right there. The design also uses skewer magwell. If we pull open the thing, here you go, skewer magwell, right there. I really like the skewer magwell. It's a very nice magwell geometry, has a nice flare on it. I edited the crap out of it. So now it's one part instead of having that bottom thing, bottom chin, I guess you could call it. I might add that back in the future. Don't know yet. The stock on this design is not that. It is this from Vikinger. This is a stock that he makes for the flak, and you can see it in this video by Bert. Funny Hat Man. You can see he has a stock from Vikinger. So it's a great stock. So I asked Vikinger if I could slap it on my blaster. He said yes, and I slapped it on my blaster. I edited the crap out of it again, but if you look at the shape, most of the shape is still this shape. Again, lots of changes, but the basic shape is still there. The lever right here is derived from not this lever, from this lever, from the flak. As you can see, there's your lever right there, and then you can see there's your lever right there. Same shape, same trigger, both of them edited a ton, but you can see basic shape is there. Made it nicely rounded on the inside. Oh, it's so good. I started test prints for this already. It's not done yet though, but I test printed this lever, and it's so nice feeling. The rounded corners turned out fantastic. But let's continue. So we got flak lever, flak stock from Vikinger, Silly Pistol, foregrip, Silly Pistol, plunger, skewer, magwell. Then we also have, well, I guess you could also say that that stock is from the first version of the slab. Excuse me. Which is then derived from the Vikinger stock. We also have a Lynx turnaround. So if we delete some of this stuff, you can see, hey, that looks familiar. There you go. That looks familiar, doesn't it? So that is right there, this black piece right here. Once again, edited a ton, but the internal geometry of this part right here is still Lynx turnaround. As you can see there. And then if I make an analysis right there, without that stuff. But you can see, Lynx turnaround, Lynx turnaround. And I also took the same thumb screw that the Lynx uses to hold its barrel in. I took one of those and slapped that on there, because there's not much space for anything else. Also, I really want to touch on, I'm super proud of this part. This part is amazing. It's so complex, it's awesome. It's got barrel retention, it has seals for the barrel, it has seals for the turnaround, it has screws going through it, it has bars going through it, it has a takedown pin down here to hold the lever, it has 3 dovetails on it, and it has cutout for the threaded rod at the top. Threaded rod, bars go through it, screws go through it, you can see there, kind of right there, and then the dovetails go into these dovetails on the magwell to keep it in place. Beautiful part. But I digress. Let's keep going. So, I'm not going to repeat the things, but it's made out of those parts so far. Then we move on to the Chimera Mark 7. The idea of using a threaded rod to go into a printed lug, which is connected then to the trigger and to a arm at the back that moves a sliding catch, comes from the Chimera Mark 7. Not the files directly, but the idea. As you can see, we have a little lug thing there. As you can see, it's connected to the trigger. Rod goes through into that, threads in there, and then it's not connected to this directly at the front, it just pushes on it inside of a divot. But the idea is there. So that's from the Chimera Mark 7. Goes along the side. This pushes forwards, pushes that forwards, goes down, that lifts the catch up, and then everything there is awesome. So that's from the Chimera Mark 7. Now we get to a part of the blaster which someone has decided to make some drama out of, which is the idea of having the lever right here connected to the sliding carriage, I guess you could call it, of the plunger tube, turnaround, magwell, all that stuff. There is a blaster called the Medusa, made by a person called Donut Steel Tendies, also known as Freedom Blasters. This blaster works very similarly to mine, where it has a lever here, and it has, you can kind of see it there. It has bars that connect to the magwell and plunger tube, and it pivots and primes it. And I think it also has a turnaround there. It uses a sear to catch on his, as opposed to a sliding catch. His trigger mechanism is very different. His magwell is very different. And his entire everything else here is just alien to my design. If you look at these two, very little similarities. But he has claimed that my design, is a straight one-to-one copy of his design. I think not. And I have been upfront that this idea of having the this bar here that connects the lever to a sliding carriage, yeah, that's his idea. And I even messaged him about it, saying that was a good idea. I'm going to use it in my design. And he said, that's fine. So I'm using it in my design. And once I've started working on this some more, he decided to change his mind, evidently, and tried to stir up some drama. But that got kind of destroyed very quickly by people on the Facebook thread, or whatever Facebook is. I don't use Facebook. But people there defended me, and I'm very grateful for that. But you can see, very different, that to that. Now, what people mentioned when he started stirring up this drama was that not even that is his original idea, which I didn't know about. Oops, sorry about that. I didn't know about. The idea of having the plunger tube connected to the moving sliding thing to prime it, and then having the plunger stick at the front, that is actually from the Indra. And I knew about that bit. That bit was something that I knew about and I mentioned as well. So as you can see on the Indra, you have a plunger rod right here that connects into a sliding catch right there. And to prime it, the whole plunger tube and bolt gets pulled back like that and pushes up against the plunger rod. So that bit's from the Indra. I knew about that. It just hadn't clicked in my mind that, oh, that part's from that. But that's right. That part's from the Indra. Now, the part of the lever being connected to the magwell, or sliding carriage, I got this idea from the Medusa. But people on that thread, once Medusa creator started stirring up drama, mentioned that the Flak actually did that. Which I knew, but it hadn't clicked in my mind that it was the same as the Medusa. But yeah, the Flak has its lever down here. It has this long printed rod, and it's connected there as a pivot, and it's connected there as a pivot. And when you prime this down, the magwell and everything else moves forwards and back on this stationary ram. I knew that. It just didn't click in my mind that that was the same as what the Medusa was doing. At least that aspect of it. You can better see that in this video. See? Same stuff. But yeah. I don't really have much else to say about Medusa similarities. It's not. And I think Freedom Blaster's Donut Steel Attendees has decided to leave the hobby, as far as I can tell. He made a Facebook post saying that he's leaving the Nerf hobby the same day or the day after he made the post about this blaster. His post got filled full of people defending me, which was cool. And then he deleted it. I think he also got either removed or resigned as an admin of a Facebook Nerf page. And now he posted a message saying that he's leaving the Nerf hobby, but he might have also deleted that message. So I don't know what's happening. I don't like it when people leave the hobby. And I especially don't like being the catalyst for people leaving the hobby. But in this case, it seems like it's on their own volition. Like they decided to do it. I didn't force them to do it. But yeah. This hobby is built on iterative design and improving upon other people's work and using previous concepts in new, exciting ways. And I believe I have done all three of those things. So here is my epic blaster. Now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about printing, testing, and release schedule. I'm currently printing this. I have most of the green parts done except for the stock. And I have all the orange parts done. So like the muzzle, plunger head, lever, all that stuff. By tomorrow, so the 23rd of May, I should have everything printed that I need to make it functional. However, I don't have all the hardware right now, so it probably will be next week when it gets like put together and tested. if testing goes well, I have some closed beta testers that I'm going to send out files to, and they're going to test it as well. Make sure that everything works. That's probably going to take a month if I'm going off of what it took for the Super Sledge and the Silly Pistol. That's probably going to take a month. So we're looking at release of this blaster at earliest, probably like late June, early July. But hey, that's not bad. I am really hoping that this blaster works well on the first try, but it doesn't always work out that way. The trigger mechanism on this took me like 4 or 5 days of just racking my brain talking to Dan from Orion Blasters. I sent him a bunch of MS Paint sketches of how triggers could possibly work. Actually, I think I still have... Yeah. So this is the one that I ended up using. So yeah, as you can see, it's a screenshot from a much earlier version of CAD. But you can see that goes up, that goes forwards, that pushes that down. Sent him a bunch of sketches like this, where like the trigger would pull this bit back and pull that down. There was parts where this would go up. There was a sliding trigger instead of a pivoting trigger, so it would like stay in the blaster and it would slide back and forth and like pull a wedge that pushed the catch up or down. Bunch of stuff like that. I decided to go with this design right here. And then it was a matter of like designing it not garbage. Originally I had the rod like on the outside of the blaster where it was like right there, kind of sticking out the side with a big wedge back there that was connecting it to the trigger and like a giant lever on the side. That was no good. So I decided to make them all a bit smaller and kind of tuck them into the silhouette of the rest of the blaster, which I'm glad that I did. It turned out a lot smoother doing it that way. But yeah, I hope that works well. Originally, both sides of the blaster looked like this while I was working out the trigger mechanism. Both sides of the blaster looked like this side panel, I mean. But then I had to make this larger side panel to cover up the giant rod that goes through it. As you can see there. So that covers that up. Yeah, I'm really hoping that this blaster works well. I really like this thumb screw placement right here. It looks sick. This entire blaster just looks so good. I'm on the verge of being pleased with it. I still want to like try and hide this little notch here, which is for the elastic that goes around this whole thing to make the catch work. I'm not very happy with these screw holes being there, but I don't know what else I could do about that. There's a bunch of small things like that. But that stuff doesn't really matter right now, as long as the blaster works. I'm also going to switch it from... Oh, I forgot. There's another blaster in this design. Caliburn and Talon Claw priming bars, right there and there, are used to hold the blaster together. In the next few iterations of the design, I'm going to switch from these V3 Talon Claw and Caliburn priming bars to a T4 and V4 Talon Claw and Caliburn priming bars, because those are apparently cheaper to make, easier to make. So if I want this design to work very well, from a monetary sense for people creating hardware for me, then I want to switch to those bars. So, it can be cheaper for everyone involved. The buyer, the producer, me. Cheaper for everybody, which would be good. So I'm going to have to redesign a few things to take those slightly larger bars. They're taller, so this will need to be moved out a bit. This side plate will need to be made thinner. The front muzzle is going to be like sliced down the middle and like swelled kind of, to make it thicker to hold the bars, because right now the bars are fully sheathed inside of the muzzle. So in order to keep that fully sheathed, I need to make the muzzle wider. Bunch of stuff like that. But that hopefully will go well. Hopefully everything here works on the first try, which probably won't. But I'm quite happy with this blaster. Yeah. I don't really know what else to say. It's a good blaster. I will keep everyone up to date on any progress that is made on it. I already uploaded a video of some prints on the printer, doing printing things. Hopefully the blaster works well. Hopefully everyone vaguely enjoyed this video. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Have a nice day.